Frankie, you've brought a stripper on here. I'll tell you why I brought a stripper on here.
Because you want to join Magic Man. Magic Man's been around for around the same time that I started there. It felt like it was my baby as well, because I was like, I've seen this grow from the club that we were at, doing 50, 60 girls, to now doing 500, 600, 1,000 women. So I just wanted to obviously be a part of it. That you could actually go somewhere, be anyone, do anything, but you don't realise that when you're just living in the bubble that you're in. Even if something does go wrong, I always believe that happens for a reason, so it'll keep me on a good path.
You were my first and only friend so far to ever bring out their own vibrator.
Can't do male entertainment forever, so real estate's just been my little project that I've just been trying to learn. Life's always going to try to beat you down. Even some of the closest people to you are going to tell you that that's not going to happen. You just got a ton of vision.
Welcome back to the Frankie Lee podcast. Don't you start laughing, mate. Don't you start like, let me do the intro. Let me do the intro. You lot are going to love this podcast. You know why? Because we've got the troupe back together. You have got, today, you've not got one. You've not got one. You've got the two magic Englishmen. Mr. Will Parfitt, welcome to the sofa, my man.
Cheers,
welcome
welcome
to the
official podcast.
Yeah, do you know what? This is the first one back in the studio for must be quite a number of months, because obviously 5-month tour, and they've just come back just on Melbourne.
Yeah.
Obviously we're meant to meet up in Melbourne, but you ghosted me like you ghost half your girlfriends.
Mate, you disappeared in the DMs there for a minute.
Oh, mate, I bet. Do you know what? After seeing your DMs, no wonder I disappeared. But, mate, what a journey, mate. 10 years in Australia.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
you've blown up, obviously, massive on TikTok, massive on Instagram. Obviously, look, with this kind of podcast, I'm willing to explore all types of business models. Obviously, you've gone for the live show model with the stripping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you've smashed it. But I want people to really understand your true journey, mate, because I don't think a lot of people do. They see all the virality around what you're doing and all that stuff now.
The high life.
And they see the high life, and they see all the shows and the sold out shows, 300, 400 women at a time and all this stuff, which is great. But, you know, give me a bit of an insight into your childhood growing up in England and how you even got to the point of like coming to Australia and what was going on then.
Well, I grew up in South London, Croydon, which I don't know if you've been there. You've probably been there at some point.
I've been there a few times, and I wouldn't want to live there.
Highest knife crime in England. That's the record they hold there.
Wow.
But yeah, it's not the best area. But my family has moved to the country now. They're in Norfolk, so when I went back there, they're back to more country now. So my parents are like retired out there, which is good. But yeah, then the idea to come to Australia it was such a random decision, to be honest. It was my best mate had just broken up with his girlfriend, and you know, consoling him as you do, I was like, where's the furthest we can go to get away from your ex-missus? And Australia it was. And we'd had a couple of our boys say to us, you boys need to go and check out Australia. It's awesome out there. They'd been like out here just for a holiday and stuff. So we were like, fuck it. We'll just book a 1-month holiday, see if we get the visas. Well, we was actually tossing up between Australia and America and applied for visas for both. And Australia came back almost instantly. Like
I applied, like, obviously I came out here 8 years ago, and when you used to apply for an Australian visa, see, Australians don't know how lucky they are to live here.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. They actually
I paid like a £200, and it came back as I was granted a visa in 24 hours, bro.
Yeah.
It's literally that fast.
Yeah, I know, because someone had said that to us, that I don't know how true this is, and I don't know if you could even be speaking about this, but apparently if you do it on a Sunday night, there's no one in the office, so it's like an automated acceptance thing of the visa, especially if it's just like the working holiday, which like everyone gets.
Yeah.
So we tried it on a Sunday night, and I actually did it. Ours came back straight away. Within like an hour, we got the visa accepted. And so then I was like, and that was obviously before the American one came back, because that would have taken a week or two. So,
isn't it amazing though how a lot of English guys end up here after a bad relationship breakup? Because you telling that story about your mate breaking up, I was that mate. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Like, yeah. I broke up with my missus in 2013. And I was sat there crying in my apartment.
Oh,
and I was like,
we've all been there.
I rang my mum. I rang me after I'd stopped crying.
In between the
I've got to look like a man. I was like, I'm going to Australia. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I've rang Lewis. He's renting out my apartment. And that's it, mate. And 2014, straight out here. Straight out here.
It's because it's the furthest we can get away, unless you go to New Zealand or something. But
what were you doing as a job back in the UK?
I was working at Morrison's, mate. So Aussies wouldn't know what Morrison's is, but it's
a bit like Woolworths and
like Coles.
Woolworths and Coles. I've got a lot of English and American listeners as well. So
yeah, because I'd finished school obviously, and then did college for a bit, but I was unsure what I was even going to do, to be honest. And then I was like, I'll just take a year or two, just work, get some money together, and then decide whether I go to uni or because I did want to go traveling, but I hadn't decided where or what I was going to do, so I just started working there. I was actually doing night shift, so it was brutal. So it was just like stacking shelves, basically, on the night shift, and then saved up the money. And then obviously that happened with my mate and his ex. So then we were just like, fuck it, let's go. Yeah. Now I've got nothing holding me here. He's obviously not with his missus.
Isn't it amazing how many of us got stuck in the UK working those £8 to £10 an hour jobs back then?
Yeah, 100%.
And we thought we were smashing life back then.
Yeah, I know. Mate, it's actually crazy when you look back. And I was like, how did I even live off that money in the first place?
I go back to the UK a lot, and obviously you go back every now and again, and just to see some of the struggle there. In the even now, like
especially now, it's even worse now at the minute.
I thought this is a hard life when I went back.
Yeah,
I thought this is really hard. I don't know how people.
I went back just after COVID and everything happened for Christmas. It was the first time I'd been back for a winter, so I went back Christmas time, and I was like, how did I live? How did I live here going through these winters every year? Because it's actually like
I didn't realise how.
Cold.
I mean, my apartment in England is a 2-bed apartment, and it's probably only a little bit bigger than my 1-bed here. I didn't realise how small, like, our accommodation is compared to.
You don't realise when you're living in the bubble, though, do you? That's the crazy thing as well. Like, when I went back, there's still so many of my old mates that hadn't moved, hadn't done anything. They're still doing the same thing, working the same jobs, going to the same pub, same club. Every week.
That's something good to talk into, actually, because I think whether you're Australian, English, American, or wherever you're listening to this in the world, it's like you've got to be willing to break the patterns of what you're doing in order to want more for yourself. And sometimes that means you're gonna have to shed friends. You're gonna have to shed relationships.
100%.
You have to. You can't repeat what you're currently doing and expect a different outcome in life.
That's so true. True.
And I think that's something that me and you have really had to learn, because I came out here as a carpenter and joiner.
Yeah,
that's how I got.
That's what my mate was doing.
Yeah, man. I got the working holiday visa for a year, and then obviously after a week you think to yourself, the Australians are in a lucky sperm club, aren't they?
Yeah, I know.
You can't. You 23 million of you. You lucky bastards.
I know. Yeah.
Like, how lucky are they?
Within like a month of being out here, I feel like I'd already decided. I don't know. It was like subconsciously in there. I already knew I was going to try and stay here, even though I was still like, oh, maybe I'll go back after maybe I'll still just come here for a holiday. But I feel like subconsciously I knew I was going to try and stay here. Mate, I wanted to stay here.
Mate, it's honestly like an unbelievable environment to even think that you could be born into this. Like, and there's people out there born into it. Every day I walk around. I mean, even if you're unlucky enough like you to live in Melbourne, like it's still not too bad, is it? It's like a good version of London where there's no knife crime.
Yeah, literally.
Like that's what it is.
That's what people say about Melbourne, though. They're like, "Oh, why'd you live?" Especially Aussies. I know it's different for you, but like Aussies say that to me as well. They're like, "Why would you pick Melbourne?" I'm like, "Have you lived in England? Like, Melbourne winter's not even. It's not even a patch on like an English winter. Like, I've never once in Australia worn gloves because it's cold."
I was cold yesterday in Melbourne.
We were
both in Melbourne yesterday. No, I wasn't wearing gloves and a scarf.
That's what I mean. That's English cold.
But yeah.
It does get cold, yeah. But plus, you probably got used to the Gold Coast weather as well.
So I remember before, just to put it in context for all of you Australians listening, it's like, I was working on a church roof because I did English Heritage Carpentry and Joinery. I was working on a church roof in -15 on December 2013. It's the coldest winter on record for years and years and years. I was sheeting up a church roof out in the middle of Norfolk, right? Probably near where your family live, near Kings Lynn. I was sheeting up this church roof. It was a wind chill factor of -13, -15. My hands were like this, like shaking.
Yeah, it's actually to your bones.
Yeah,
to your bone cold.
And there isn't a winter I've known where we don't drop to at least -4, -5, and that is savage on you.
Yeah.
Like you kind of. I just want all of you Australians to listen to this to understand how fucking lucky you are.
It's cold
because I get a lot of them. I get a lot of them go to me, "Hey Frankie, I'm going to London." I'm like, you have no idea.
They're so happy about it, aren't they? That's what they say to me.
I'm like, you have no idea.
I know. They're like, oh, I'm so jealous. You lived in London. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Go there and live there for a year, and then you'll be running back here.
Yeah, because that lack of vitamin D for a start is going to kill you off. Like that, living in a shoebox, and then it's just there's no. I like going back to London for like 3 months to podcast and travel and all this kind of stuff, and do in the summer. It's great, mate. Summer London. If you land in London in the summer, you get this false sense of security. And it's just like, that's
what all the Aussies have when they travel, because they go to London in the summer and then they stay there for a couple of weeks, then they leave. So then they think like that all the time.
They're like, I want to go to London. Yeah. Frankie, I'm going to move to London. I'm going to get a job in the city. I'm like, what? You're going to get a job in the city paying 25, 35 grand a year, and you're going to live in a box out sticks of London and pay £1,900 a week for it.
Yeah, you can't live in the city.
Yeah, it's terrible, mate. It's terrible. But if you want an experience, definitely go there, have a little look. But I think it's a hard life in England.
Yeah, 100%. Aussies have got it good.
But after you've been out here for a while, what was your first kind of job and stuff over here?
Mate, I was just doing odd jobs, to be honest. One of the first ones was a sales job. So we were in Brisbane, actually. Brisbane was where I flew into.
Same here, bro.
Was it? Yeah. I flew into Yeah, but when I got to Brisbane, I was like, weather's so good here, because it's like it feels like paradise compared to England. So I was like, this is decent. And then I was like, we obviously just had a month on the piss, just like enjoying life, because we was out here. We made it to Australia, and then we were like, right, if we want to stay here, need to get a job now. So then got a job, this sales job, which was door to door, but it was actually good. It was better than like what you'd think when like you say door to door, because of like the group that was there. Met some good guys there, and everyone's just doing the same thing, like just trying to get their hustle on and try and stay in Australia. So we all motivate each other.
Because it doesn't matter what people say, it is really hard to hustle and stay here. And there were times like,
it's hard. There's so many of people we met who come and go, and they wanted to stay, they just couldn't stay. They either ran out of money, they couldn't get the visas, or they had no other choice. They had to go home. But
They do make it hard.
It's very strict. Very hard.
Very hard to stay here.
There's not many options, and it's even getting harder now.
I know, but I still think that even when we did it, and what I know we're going to talk into, and you have to go through to even be able to have the opportunities we've got.
Yeah.
There's no luck in where we both are now.
No way.
Do you know what I mean? Because I've been broke. I don't know how many times have you ever been broke here? I've been broke here twice, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fucking savage when you're broke, when you got no family.
Yeah, I know, it's the worst. Yeah.
I mean, how did you?
It makes you just want to fly home.
What was your situation when you went broke?
When I was trying to do farm work, because you have to do farm work to stay here, or some sort of regional work to stay here, and we'd left a job, and then what happened? We went to this farm, and then we'd like spent almost our last amount of money to get there, And then they said to us, there's such a hold up because we've got so many backpackers here. It's going to be like 3 months. You might get an odd day here and there. Whereas on the phone, they just want to get you there kind of thing because they want you to pay for the hostel. So it's a bit dodgy, like that farm work game, because they just want to get you there to pay for the hostel. But then when you're there, they'll only give you like 1 or 2 days. So that's not good enough to sign off your farm work.
And then what I've heard is that they only give you a couple of days because then they know you can't afford not to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you haven't got enough money.
And then you stay there for ages because you have to do 3 months. It's like 28 days all in one, or 3 months, wherever it is. You have to do like 3 months in total. Back then, you had to do 3 months to get your farm work. So if you're only doing 2 days a week, you're going to be there for ages, just trying to complete those 3 months worth of farm work. So yeah, they sort of trap you in. And then me and my mate made a decision. We either bounce with our last amount of money on this bus back to Brisbane, or we try and get a job there, or I don't even know what we was going to do, or we just try and stay there and risk it and try and get a couple of days farm work and just scrape through. So in the end, we spent the last of our money getting back to Brisbane, and then luckily we got a job in Brisbane. But yeah, that's like, when I look back now, I always, like me and my best mate always say, like, they were the best times because of the journey, and we look back and we laugh about it now. Yeah. But at the time, you're stressed off your nut because you're like, you don't want to leave the country, you're loving it here, but you also you're like, we can't eat if we ain't got no food. Where are we going to stay? I'm not going to like sleep on the street when I could just fly back to England. You know
I don't know how you felt, but what when I came out here, right, I saw all this abundance, like all these very wealthy young Australian kids driving like
cars that we couldn't even get insured on in England.
Cars that we couldn't even, like, I left England and the top car I'd got by then was like a BMW convertible, bro.
Oh mate, right? I'd a Ford Fiesta, mate.
Right, so I was living. I thought I'd made it, right? Yeah. I had a BMW and a nice 2-bed apartment and all that stuff. I thought I'd made it, mate.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought I was ready to settle down, bro. Like, I was ready to get wifed up. That was it. I was retired, mate. I had the 25 grand a year job.
Yeah.
I thought life was set. When I came here and I started to see that, there was people that were 19 driving around a G-Wagon, bro. And I'm like,
it's crazy.
In your heart, when you come here as an immigrant and you're earning $25 an hour, and that's good money for you compared to where you've been. Right? Because people have got to understand that. But then you're like, wow, there's levels to this, and I feel like a poor person.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel that?
Yeah, the same.
Did you feel some kind of? Because I felt some kind of, in that moment, I felt a little bit inadequate. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, wow, I actually feel a bit vulnerable here,
mate. Yeah, it's crazy. As well, what you said about the money as well. Whereas we got a job and it was paying $20 an hour, and we were like, this is amazing, because like compared to what we were on in England, it just seemed so much more. But then the Aussies would look at that as like, that's a bottom end job.
Yeah.
And then we were like, the guys in construction here are making $50 an hour. We were like, that's insane.
Yeah. So the first time I was broke, I came here. Imagine this. I'd came over here with $6,000 and a bag of clothes. So I get here, right? I spend $2,000 on a car, $1,000 or something on accommodation. And then I bought some tools, which were quite expensive, like $2,500. So I had 500 notes left. Yeah. And then I got a job with this being, I couldn't get a job as a carpenter at the time because I was signing up for these labour hire agencies.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, because we're English, we want to work, we want to earn some cash, don't we? So I thought I didn't have any like pride or anything in this. I just went to labour for a tiler.
Yeah.
And his name was Tyler the Tiler. And if he still exists, I'm coming for you one day, bro. I'm coming for you. I'm seriously coming for you. Right?
Tyler the Tiler.
Let me tell you what he did, right? I worked for this guy for 3 weeks, bro, and he promised me $21 an hour or something like that. He didn't pay me anything, mate. So I'd been spending my $500, bearing in mind, fuel was costing, because I had to go from the Gold Coast, and I was living in Mermaid at the time, had to travel all the way up to near Logan, right, for this tiling job. I went to there every day for 3 weeks. The guy never paid me, right? So I'd worked 40 hours a week for 3 weeks at $21 an hour. So
that's the thing as well. You get absolutely rorted as a backpacker.
When you first come here, you get robbed.
Yeah,
you get robbed if you're not careful. And that
we did so many of those like odd days here and there, like labouring. We never got paid for them. But you like work your bollocks out for those 12 hours.
Yeah,
because you're only like there for a day here and there. They just never pay you.
And
you got no leg to stand on because you're not like part of a union or nothing like that. You backpacking.
Yeah, do you know the amount of money in those early days that I got took off me?
Yeah,
that I lost through just like trusting the process. But I wouldn't change any of it because it's led us to this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's beautiful, and it's beautiful.
That's why I said, like, me and my mate look back and laugh now at the stuff that we did go through, but at the time it's not funny, it's stressful.
It made me emotional at the time because I'm like, fuck, this geezer, like, I've worked all day for that $200.
Yeah.
And now I don't even have it. But I've still, you know, and it was mental, mate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was mental, the kind of stuff. So how did you then get transfer from all that kind of journey into, obviously, you get the second year, or you get your second year for doing your farm work and all that stuff. Yeah. Now you're here. How did you get into stripping and all that? How did that come about?
So, I think I was on my second year visa, and it was coming to the end, and we had about 6 months left. It was coming up to like our last 6 months, and then I said to my best mate, I was like, let's get, because we'd been in hostels and traveling all that time in and out of like hostels. So you're just staying in bunk beds, sharing with 8 people. I said, the last 6 months, let's just get an apartment and just live it for the last 6 months. Because if it's our last 6 months here, is what it is. But at least we can say we lived it for the last 6 months. So we got an apartment on Collins Street in Melbourne. So it's like a decent, it's right in the middle of the city. And we got that. And then we was like, I was dressed up going on a night out, and then I bumped into, it was like one of those nights where you don't drink, but one of those drunken nights where you lose your mate. So I'd lost my mate. I was just out on my own, just carried on drinking with randoms. And then I bumped into this guy, and he was like, Channing Tatum. And I was like, what? And he was like, you're Channing Tatum's little brother, aren't you? And then he was like, and I was like, yeah, just going along with it. He was like, come and meet my mate. So he took me over to his mates. He's like, this is Channing Tatum's little cousin. He's from England and all this. And I was like, got him on Facebook, as you do back then. Like, it's just Facebook was like pretty much the only social media back then, wasn't it? But so I got him on Facebook, and then like a couple of days later, he put a Facebook status up saying we need topless waiters, and I just replied to him because I'd been training then as well, because like, I'd got into the gym a bit here as well. I used to like do the gym in England, but I'd got back into it because we were like more settled then. Like, we was in an apartment. We could like, you get more of a routine rather than just backpacking. So then I messaged him. I was like, mate, I'd give it a go. I've never done anything like that before. And like I said, I'm just going to live it for the last 6 months that I'm here. And he was like, yeah, I'll put you in touch with. And then I get a phone call from the guy at the time who owned Magic Men. And yeah, he just rings me up and he's like, yeah, come down for a trial. Mate, and I don't know what it was. And I say this to people now, and like, it sounds like I'm bullshitting because it's easy to say once you're in a good position. But I swear I had the best feeling about Magic Men. I don't know why, because it was just a topless waitering job. But maybe it's because I'd gone through so many shit jobs in Australia. But inside me, it was like I knew something big was going to come from it. I was like, I have to go to this trial. Like, I don't know. Do you know when
there's times in your life you get that feeling?
Yeah.
And I think I've had it twice. And once when I started the pursuit of being a professional boxing trainer.
Yeah.
I knew when I started, that very moment I started on that pursuit, I knew I'd work at world title level.
Yeah.
The second time I knew it and I felt it, that the way you've just described, is the day I put the first piece of audio down for this podcast.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, I've just found what I'm meant to be doing.
It's like you found your calling or something. Yeah.
So just so that you.
And the weirdest thing as well, this is what ties into that, is when I was working in that, when I was stacking shelves back in England, there was this guy, and I never really got on with him that much. Like, just one of them people you just keep out each other's way. But when I left, he come up to me and he was like, mate, it was weird, but he just come up to me and he gave me like a card. He was like, oh, mate, good luck. But he goes, find your calling out there. But like, you know, like it gave me goosebumps when he said it. It was weird because we didn't even like get on that well or speak that much. But he just said it to me before I came out here, and I was like, man, that's so weird. And then when I got the trial at Magic Man, mate, I thought about that, and I was like, it felt like I was like, it was my calling. I don't know why, it sounds stupid to think like,
mate, because like at the end of the day, we're both in separate arenas. We're both performers.
Yeah.
Like I perform with my voice and try and get the best out of people with my voice and communication. And you try and get the best out of people by making them laugh, by making them cry, by making them emotional, by making them have the best night of their life. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it is. It's like a performer's job. And I suppose I know from my experience, when you feel. Your gut never lies.
Yeah, mate, it's actually true. And how many times have you get that feeling as well, whether it's a relationship or a person, you get that gut feeling about them, but sometimes you ignore it. Sometimes you don't go with it, or sometimes you ignore it. And then it goes pear-shaped, or it goes wrong, and you're like, I knew that. I knew it at the time. I didn't listen to myself, and then it backfires on you. But like, that's how I felt with that trial, and I was like, I have to go to this because I don't know why, but I've got such a good feeling about it, and I have to go to it and nail it.
Do you ever feel that? Because I really believe this. I believe everyone that comes into your life and every conversation is for a reason.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of feel like there's things that are sent to test you because they're trying to teach you to answer a shadow within yourself that you need to get over and move through. That's all part of the journey. And
also, I believe that's just a good way to go through your life as well, because if you always believe that, because then you stay on that positive mindset as well, is how I see that. Because if something does go wrong, and then you believe it's gone wrong for a reason, like you can't really ever be brought that far down. Do you know what I mean? Because if something goes wrong in your life, you're like, it's happened for a reason. Then you stay on that positive vibe no matter what happens. If something goes drastically wrong, you're like, that's happened because something's gonna come good.
When I look back now as well, I'm so proud of like the way that we came through.
Yeah.
Because it was hard. It makes it, when you look back, you're like, wow, I feel such an achievement. And sometimes when I speak to young Australians that have had a privileged lifestyle, like a really privileged lifestyle, and they want to go out traveling to like the Londons and stuff, sometimes I think the reason they feel some lack in themselves, from what I can tell when they speak to me, and they feel like something's missing, the reason they feel something's missing is because they've had everything.
They've had it good.
They've had it everything. Not saying that's their fault. That was just their cards that they were dealt. But when you're dealt a little bit of a I've seen some Indian guys come over here and make good moves, and when I see the immigrant mentality, when I see that working, I know a Brazilian guy that's doing really well in building over here. It's like when I see that, it just I don't know, they're the most fulfilled people I know.
Yeah,
because they've not come from like a generational wealth point of view. They've come from a bag of clothes.
They've got that fire in their belly as well, because they're like,
it's different. That's why it probably is good that. You know, if you've been here all your life, especially if you've been in Australia all your life and you're Australian listening to this, it probably is good that you go and travel and try somewhere else, because you'll learn what me and Will have had to learn. And there's a lot of juice in that. There's a lot of lessons. There's a lot of hardships, but there's a lot of. But when you can sit on this sofa right now and just talk about this and be peaceful knowing that you've been broke, and be peaceful knowing that you couldn't feed yourself that day, and it's like weird stuff. It sounds weird, but I just believe it. It's like all led to this point. It's very powerful.
100%, so true.
So powerful. But so you start doing this naked butler thing, or like topless
waiting. Topless waiting.
How long was it before that you started to like use that to grow a social media following and all that kind of stuff?
So when I started, it did seem like a strip club. Like it was like a little grimy club in South Melbourne, and it only fitted like some shows. They were only doing like 50, 60 girls maybe would come in there, but still I was like, this is crazy, and you're just going to get paid to go in this club and party with girls. So I was like, mate, 100%, I'll do this. Why not? Like, especially because
how old at this point?
I was 23,
23, yeah.
24, no, 24, yeah, 24, I think. 24, 25. And I was like, mate, 100%, I'm going out partying anyway, so if I can get paid for it, then 100% I'm going to do this. And then did the trial, smashed it, got that, and then they wanted me to do a photo shoot, and I got on the website, and that was when the first sort of the Channing comparisons was coming in. Then when they put me on the website, because they the girl who was running the bookings rung me up, and she goes, "Have you ever thought about having a stripper name?" And I was like, "Nah, not really." And then she was like, "Every girl keeps saying they want the one that looks like Channing on the website." And then she was like, "Do you want to change your name to Channing?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a bit cringy," but I was like, "It's going to help with bookings." So at one point there, they did actually change my name to Channing as my waitering name, which obviously helped with bookings, and it started going crazy then. But I was just doing topless waitering, but I was like happy with that because it was just like extra cash.
How much were you earning?
The waitering was like $100 an hour, but I was smashing the whole Saturday. I ended up doing. I started doing 12 o'clock. Started doing them, and I wasn't finished until till 1, 2 in the morning. So I was making $500-600, but that's what made me progress into doing the shows, because you see the guys coming in, they're only there for 20 minutes, whereas when you're waitering, you have to be there for 2 hours. So I was like, I'd rather just come in and do the show, get my money, and do that rather than. And the thing is, when I first started, I was like, I'd never do the shows. I was like, no way could I do that. I can go up on stage in front of those girls. No way. The waiting was easier for me because I can stand there talking to girls all day if I have to. So that was easy for me. You just had to flirt with girls. But the shows, I was like, nah, no way I could do that. But once you get in there with the boys, and then you got the environment with the guys, and you just having banter with those boys, I was like, I could do that. That guy's not a pro dancer, but he just does it. It's more they learn a routine and then they just get good at that. It is actually more just performing than dancing. Because it's how you connect with the crowd and entertain the crowd. You don't have to be like a Chris Brown up there or Michael Jackson busting out all these dance moves. No way. If anything, the crowd goes silent when the guys are dancing, because obviously you're watching then. Whereas the other guys who were getting eye contact with the crowd, getting the girls standing up, that's when the crowd's going crazy. So it's more performing. And that's when I was like, okay, I could do that. See,
I actually think from the way you've described it, what you do now is probably, after you've done it a while, it's probably easier than butler in the buff kind of thing. Because I did butler in the buff in the UK to save as an extra job to save up to come out here, right? And that was like you say, standing there 2 hours having small talk. Yeah. You always get a cheeky reach round from a non-desirable. Do you know what I mean? That's what happens, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
you got to be honest. That's what happens.
And you do get over the
if we did that to a woman.
Oh, mate.
Put it this way, girls. If we treated you the same way that you treat us when we're butlers in the buff, if we did that, we'd get arrested.
We'd be up on the charge.
We'd be up on charges because, mate, honestly, I've been savagely assaulted.
You're right, mate. That's why you need.
Okay, I needed counselling, mate.
It's the real reason you got me.
I didn't need counselling for what actually happened. Is when I turned around, I thought, "Wow, I need counselling now."
Mate, I need counselling after this job. I need counselling.
Yeah, mate.
No, it is like that though. We always say that, where it was you get a room full of these girls together, and you only put 7 topless blokes in there. It's like feeding. It's like feeding the sheep to the wolves.
Have you ever seen that? It's equivalent to. You know that T-Rex in Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you. Or no, what's them little ones? The little T-Rexes, the Velociraptor. The Velociraptors or whatever. Where they all run at you and they start ripping you to shreds. That's literally how it is.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah,
especially because you do the outback towns.
Yeah, they're the craziest. We did one just recently, but the one that I did recently, actually, we stayed in. Because obviously you're not going to get the Ritz out there. You're not going to get such nice hotels when you're staying out there. And we actually stayed in a place that might as well have been a hostel. It was as close to a hostel as you could get. And I was like, stuff like that makes you think back. And I was like, this is actually crazy. I used to stay in places like this and I was just living normally. And now I look at it and I'm like, I don't want to stay here. Because you get accustomed to living the good life, but that stuff makes you reflect back on like the journey. And I'm like, that actually literally only happened 2 weeks ago. We was in Rockhampton, and I was like, mate, I don't want to stay here. And I was like, I used to stay in like a hostel like this. I stayed in there for months.
I know, and like even some of them days, you be thinking, you know, am I going to get a bed tonight?
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But like we were saying earlier, it's like that reflection on that journey and the power in that.
Yeah,
I think the most beautiful thing about traveling, the beautiful thing about going to another country, and why everyone that listens to this podcast should and you should go and work in another country at some point in time.
100%.
And I think the most beautiful thing about that is it's going to give you lots of experiences of life that's a little bit tougher than probably what you live in now. But that stretch and that challenge is going to stretch your elasticity of your mind and allow you to see something more for yourself than what you probably do now.
And it makes you realize how small you are in the world when you actually come outside the bubble that you're living in. That's what I found was the craziest thing. I was like. You could actually go somewhere, be anyone, do anything, but you don't realize that when you're just living in the bubble that you're in.
Well, you have to get out of the location where you grew up.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you've grown up all your life for 20 years in a location, I know if you'd grown up all your life in the Gold Coast, it would be hard to live that life.
Yeah.
But leave that life.
But it might make you as well. Yeah, you might. You might travel and be grateful for where you're at, which is even better then as well, because at least then you've seen.
There's no downside.
Yeah,
there's no downside. I know we joked earlier about living in London, and it's just all just a bit of banter. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's a great place to go and experience and to go and put yourself in. Like put yourself. If you want growth, you've got to put yourself in hard environments, and nothing shows that more than you. At the end of the day, like, look what you've done. You've come with a bag of clothes to Australia. You've been through. You've worked round. You now go from to having to stand talking to women for 2 hours in the buff to now dancing in front of 40, 50 women, then dancing for. It takes a lot of balls to dance in front of that many women, man. Yeah. People don't understand that. Especially now.
I know now it's like thousands sometimes of in the crowd, so it's actually crazy. And they're the ones where because people always say, "Oh, do you still get nervous?" But when I'm just doing the normal shows, like private events, I never get nervous. But when you go there and there's like over 1,000, 1,500 in the crowd.
And they've all come to see you because of the following you have on social media.
And that's the hard thing about mine as well, is it's like, I don't know, the Channing things, it's a blessing and a curse, because it's good for my social media and it's got me a big following and it's obviously like blown me up to where it is now. But on the other side, then when you go to walk on stage, you're like, freaking, they're waiting for Channing Tatum to walk out.
Yeah.
So you've got to put on the performance of your life, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, mate. And had Channing Tatum done the movie at the time when you were referenced to him?
The first one had just come out, and then that's when Magic Men came about, just after the first one.
There's a lot of serendipity, like a lot of events that just worked out.
Yeah.
See, this is why you got to have an aspiration for life, but not try and put too much focus on how you want life to be, because you don't know exactly what life's going to be for you.
Mate, I've always been like that. I've always been like, you have a goal, but you also don't want to stick to it too precisely. You also want to have a bit of flexibility, because you can predict 5 years, or you want to at least have your goals for 5 years, but you also want to like go with the flow as well, because you never know exactly which direction you're going to be pulled in. So
have you ever like done anything but do you believe in like manifestation, meditation? Strong
on the manifestation.
So how
but my manifestation is more like is like, I believe in manifestation 100%, but like it's like keeps me positive is my manifestation of, like we said before about, you believe that things happen for a reason. But that's my way of like keeping me positive. Even if something does go wrong, I always believe that happens for a reason, so it'll keep me on a good path.
But do you remember there being a time when you set yourself goals and then you kind of brought them into your life, but you forgot about them, and then you realised, wow, I achieved that and I set that as a goal?
It was actually when I got one of my apartments, the one before the one I was in now. when I was sitting in my car in England with my best mate, I was like, because he was obviously devastated about it, and I was like trying to give him a pep talk. You try and like boost him up, don't you?
Yeah.
And I was like, we will live in Australia, and we will have residency there, and we'll be surrounded by beautiful women, and there will be palm trees around us, there will be blue skies around us, and like I manifested it, and that was in my head, and I always thought of that. And it's like, it wasn't till I remember when I got that apartment, I picked up the keys and I went there to, like, you know, when you go there and you've just moved in before you move all your stuff, and I just got in there and I walked out on the balcony and I was like, mate, this is that moment that I was talking about.
Bro, I had that moment that you're talking about 3 years ago. I walked into this apartment and I thought, wow, it just felt like the place. So I rent the place and obviously get the keys, and I walked in here the first day I owned it. And I stood on that fucking balcony, bro, and I fucking had tears running down my cheek, man, because I felt, oh my God, this view is everything I have dreamt of for so long. And no one else could understand that.
Yeah.
You probably can't, but I hope you feel this when I say this.
100%.
It makes me, because I remember being at the back of a geography class because I was late and didn't have the homework. And I remember sitting at the back of the class, mate. I sat there, I was 14 years old, year 9, sat there at the back of the class with Kamal Danji, and we're looking at people present things in the geography class about different locations.
Yeah.
And one of the kids in the class presented a whole fucking slideshow on the Gold Coast, mate. And I turned round to Kamal, right? And it was that view, bro. And I said to him, I'm going to live there, right? And I was definite in what I said.
Yeah.
But I kind of doubted myself at the same time.
Yeah.
And now I'm living that life.
Yeah.
In that view that I saw is what I'm living.
Yeah.
And if you tell people that, you think, fuck you, you're crazy, mate.
Yeah.
But my mate Kamal, he messaged me the other day and he goes, and I'll show you the message after the podcast. He literally said, bro, you're
living the life you said, yeah.
You're doing what you said when we were in that geography class.
It's crazy, yeah.
It's fucking mad,
That
mate.
is actually crazy.
It's fucking mad, man.
It's such a good feeling.
Gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, 100%.
Gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because that is the magic of the journey, man.
Yeah.
You can't fucking take that away.
Yeah.
And it's those memories that you're going to talk about on podcasts like this and down the track. You're going to always remember those little fucking nuances where you had to go through a bit of adversity. Like, let's just be honest, right? If I hadn't have been late to that class, I maybe wouldn't have sat at the back. I maybe wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like everything for a reason.
Yeah,
like
100%.
it's all subconsciously planted in your mind.
Yeah.
It's like you don't. I remember there's a story. I want to tell this story, and you see if you resonate with this.
Yeah.
So a young Cassius Clay, right, at 12 years old, got his bike stolen. Right, he got his bike stolen. He goes to the police station. He says to the policeman, I want to find out who stole my bike. I want to whoop him. And the police officer said to him, you better learn how to box then, son. Right? And then he went on a whole journey of learning how to box because he got his bike stolen. The meaning is this: if Muhammad Ali hadn't had his fucking bike stolen, we wouldn't have Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Right? Because everything is for a reason. So if you're out there right now and you're going for a little bit of adversity and you're thinking to yourself, fuck, where's this coming from? Why me? Why have I lost this thing? You've not lost anything. The world's serving you, but you don't know what the world's serving you just yet.
You don't know yet, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a powerful story.
Yeah, that's actually cool, yeah.
And it just amazed me how sometimes we get disconnected from that. You know?
Yeah.
It's so disconnected.
It's so true when you think of like that, and you think of the tiniest things that have happened. Like, I bumped into that guy on the night out. If I hadn't bumped into him, maybe I'd never have done the topless waiter. Do you know what I mean? You always look back. You wouldn't have done, would you? Tiniest, yeah, because I wouldn't have gone looking for that. Like, people are like, oh, did you want to get in that industry? Would you? And I was like, no. It was actually just I was already in the mindset of, I'll say yes to everything right now. And then it was like
opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
You do not know
The funny thing is, though, that guy who I bumped into now, he never lets me live it down to this day, that club promoter. He's like, I made you what you are today, because he was the guy who like introduced me to Magic Men and all that. But it's actually like...
But you think about that thing, that chance meeting has allowed you to start dancing, then to making, you know, good money, to allow you to stay in Australia, to then allow you to buy a position in the company, so you have ownership of the company because of how big you got. You've grown your social media followings. You can fly around anywhere. You've got online e-commerce business now. You got this. You got this. You got this.
Yeah,
it's crazy how it's exploded.
Yeah.
So, what was the first point in time when you realised you'd built such a following that you could now leverage that and buy a piece of the show, so you could actually own the intellectual property of Magic Men and own a piece of that?
It was actually lockdown, which made it go to the next level, surprisingly. Like, everyone, like, a lot of people hated lockdown, or it was obviously a tough time for so many people, but it was actually so good for me on the side of social media and growing that and just taking it to the next level, because I jumped on TikTok, which again, I wasn't going to get on TikTok because I was like, what is this? It's just a kid's app. And then my business partner now was actually the one who said to me, he was like, you need to get on this, trust me, it's all the up and coming 18-year-olds, they're all going to be talking about this, you should just do some videos, chuck some of your old videos on there, see how they go. Did a couple of posts, they didn't go too well, and then I was like, nah, this is not for me, left it. Then I was like, how can I make it so that I can post? But I had to, like, because obviously with this industry, obviously you're posting, taking your clothes off and all that, but TikTok's way more PG than that. You have to keep it almost like as if kids are going to watch it. So then I was like, what can I do? Then I was like, I do a transition into the cop outfit. So I'm not taking any clothes off. I'll just stand there, do a transition into a cop outfit. Did that. It just blew up. Everyone was commenting, Channing Tatum. And I was like, what? This is crazy. And it, like, my followers started to go up like that. And then I was like, all right, I'm in lockdown anyway, so I'll roll with this, see how it goes. And then, mate, it blew up.
How many views did you get on that first video?
That first one got like 50, 100,000 views. And I was like, this is actually crazy. Like, I wouldn't get that on Instagram at the minute. I was like, that's actually going off. And then I did another one, and it got like over 1 million or something, I think it was, for another cop one. Or I did a 50 Shades of Grey, something like that. And then I was like, yeah, just kept rolling with it. And then, mate, I hit 1 million followers pretty quick from like where I started to hitting 1 million followers. And I was like, almost didn't, especially because we was in lockdown as well, it felt like just numbers on the screen. And I was like, it was like I was just playing the game. I was like, all right, I'll just keep going. It was growing my Instagram as well at the same time, because then they brought out Instagram Reels.
Yeah. So you could just literally put the same content.
And I just put the same content across, because I was like, they're going to push the reach on Instagram Reels. So I was like, I just start pushing the same stuff across. And then that blew up again on Instagram. But again, like you see, it's just numbers on the screen, the following, and obviously it's just a social media thing. But then it wasn't until we did our first show when lockdown ended. We had like a massive show in Perth, and we were like, that was our one that we were still just keeping there, because it was at the end of the year, and we were like, I think lockdown, like, it came to an end like October, November for us or something like that in Melbourne. So we just kept the Perth one there, because we were like, hopefully we can still do one big show before the end of the year, like get out of lockdown. And then that was huge. Like, we sold out. It was like over 1,000 girls there, which we'd never done before at Magic Men, like that size of a crowd. And that was when I was like, this shit's got real now. Like, everyone was taking photos with me and stuff at this show. And I was like, it was no longer just on a screen on TikTok. I was like, this is actually mad now. It's crazy.
Now you can see how you qualified the social media following into real life people that came to your shows now.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. So it was like, that was, and it's still weird for me even now, like when people come and ask for a photo, like people say to me, oh, like, I'm humble because of that, but it's just because it's still weird to me, because it's like, it's just social media. I haven't been on like a TV show or anything like that, but sometimes it does feel like I've been on Love Island or something like that, because people in the airport will be like, oh, you're Will of TikTok. And I'm like, that's actually crazy. Like, it's crazy how social media is now. People like put you up on that pedestal as if you've almost been on TV show when you've got like a big following.
And it's just another example of a serendipitous event where you get onto the right platform at the right time.
Yeah, 100%. Because I heard that about people who got on Instagram back in the day. And that's how they got a big platform back then, because Instagram was like popping, with the reach was good. And obviously I got on Instagram late and all that. But so, yeah, TikTok, I just got on at the right time as well. And obviously,
I was speaking to Tammy Hembrow ages ago and a couple of years back. And she didn't realize at the time, she thought she didn't realize that Instagram was like, she thought it was like a private photo app.
Yeah.
She didn't realize in the early days you got loads of followers off it. She thought she was just posting them on there and it was like a storage type thing. And she, through a pregnancy and that, she and getting her body back, she's just recording her progress, and she just blew up, man.
Yeah.
And it's just like, then she started to see that this was real, and started to see, because she had that same thing where she did
just numbers on the screen.
Like, she had no idea at the time what it meant at the time. She blew up early days of Instagram.
Yeah, she was like one of the first ones. Yeah.
This was a funny thing about that. I'm meeting her and I'm talking to her, and like, I remember the lads in the boxing gym like saying, "Have you seen this chick on Instagram?" Do you know what I mean? Like back in the day, like before I'd even come to Australia, and like, you know, 3 or 4 years into my thing, I'm talking to her about it, and like, it's crazy now the world works, and how you can grow if you're in the right place at the right time. You can grow all kinds of different pieces of real estate, but it's just about catching the right trends, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right.
What do you see any other social media apps at the moment other than TikTok that are kind of like got good grounds for growth?
Mate, it's hard to predict, isn't it? Like, no one would have predicted TikTok to go how it is now, but like, there's another one, Triller, that people have spoke about, but like, I'm not sure at the minute. I just see like TikTok and Instagram obviously still the big dogs, but you never know. You never know when something's going to come along. Like, even Snapchat had its time, didn't it? But now it's sort of died off again. So you never know which ones are going to... Because people thought TikTok was just like a fad where it might just die off, whereas at the minute it just seems to be getting better and bigger. So, mate,
do you know what I'd love to see you do? I'd love to see you just start posting your content on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, apparently people are posting on that, aren't they?
Because how do you know you wouldn't pop off on LinkedIn on all, you know, when they're bored in the office in the afternoon, all these women are bored in the office. Mate, it might pop off on LinkedIn.
Next minute you see me posting on there now 10 times a day.
Well, I've heard of Stranger Things working. You don't know, do you? You don't know. You might get
like, even Twitter goes all right though. I started using that, but I never used to use that before. But like that goes all right.
Zuby had a big go at me the other day because Zuby's massive on Twitter, massive, right? He goes, "Watch this photo. I'll post a photo of us we was in Grilled in Melbourne." He goes, "I'll just post this photo of us doing the podcast," and this went
just took off.
And I'm like, "Zuby, man, that's Twitter." He's like, "Yeah, bro. Like, it goes off. You just got to put your thoughts out."
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Like,
it's weird how some people are bigger on some apps,
some platforms.
Some platforms, and some are bigger on others. But
here's the key to most you listening to this: it's just about taking action on some platform.
Yeah, and it's consistency on anything you do, really.
I mean, if any of you listening to this want to build something of meaning that's meaningful to you in any niche or anything, just pick one platform and start creating content for that platform. So so if you consume content on other platforms, that's all good. But just have one platform where you actually create rather than consume. And
I'd still say TikTok at the minute is the one to jump on, because
if you can do video and you can make something in regards to video, I think.
Videos for sure, because TikTok's good, and then you can repost them on your Instagram Reels. So
I've been sleeping on TikTok a long time, right? And in the last 2 weeks, I've done one video that's done 2.4. I've done one video that's done 1.2 million. And I just said to my video guy about a couple of weeks ago, I said, look, let's go hard on TikTok. We'll go 5-10 a day. And we just went 5 to 10 a day. And we're throwing everything out there. Because on TikTok, you can just throw anything.
You just chuck it out there.
You just chuck anything at it, chuck anything at it. And the algorithm picks one up and throws it out there to 300,000 people, and then one gets 3,000 views or 500 views.
And yours is harder as well because it's a podcast, so you're talking, but you can't put music. Well, you can put music silently, I guess, but it's not the same as a dancing thing.
I suppose if it's a really emotional story, you can put like a Tom
emotional music over it.
Tom emotional music in that Tom Bailey track. But it's a different kettle of fish. But it's just about sending it as hard as you can, isn't it? Like,
100%. Just consistency. Yeah. 100%.
But so you then bought, after that show, you bought a piece in that.
Because of the tours, I wanted to be more of a part of the tours rather than, because I was still doing a lot of private functions at that point as well.
But was there a part in that where you thought to yourself, I don't want to earn a wage anymore, I need to own a piece of the intellectual property?
Yeah, 100%, because it was like, and Magic Men's been around for around the same time that I started there, when it was like pretty new as well. So I felt like it was my baby as well, because I was like, I've seen this grow from the club that we were at doing 50, 60 girls to now doing 500, 600, 1,000 women. So I just wanted to obviously be a part of it then.
How did you break and negotiate the deal?
I had a lot of pull because of the social media thing, 100%. And it's like, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to see that as my social media has grown,
you're driving the traffic to the
traffic's come in a lot stronger, yeah. But the good thing about Magic Men is like all the boys get around the social media as well. And that's what people love about Magic Men, is like the crew that we've got, because there's a lot of other companies out there obviously that do male entertainment and all that, but they're just like the company. They don't have individual like characters of the company that all like push together. So it's like we all branch off as our individual characters, and the girls follow us individually. Like some of them, like Caesar, Sean, or some of the other boys, they've all got their like characters that they like. And then we all grow the company together. So
what amazed me about that show is like how I was reading your reviews on not TripAdvisor, the other one. I was reading your reviews on there anyway. Yeah. And there's women.
Yeah, TripAdvisor.
It was TripAdvisor.
Well, no, it's the same kind of thing.
It's the same kind of thing, right? So I was reading your reviews, and there's women on there that they post pictures of the event with you guys, and they put, I can't wait to go again in 3 months' time, and I can't wait to. I'm booked in this one. I thought I'm reading through these reviews, and I'm thinking to myself, fuck, this is a repeat business.
It's return customers.
This is return customers,
and that's again what like loads of guys that have come to Magic Men who have worked for other companies. That's what they always say, and that's what we've tried to do different. Is like we still have so much crowd interaction compared to like, because we could easily just go do the show, come on stage for our set, and then just go back out the back. Yeah. Maybe come out for a few photos, but that's it. We could, if we didn't even have to do photos really, because they're only coming there for the show. But what we do is we do a meet and greet before the show, so they get to actually meet us. Then we do the show. They see us on the stage. Then at the end we come out and get photos, and I'll go around individually because I know a lot of the girls have come to see me. I'll go around individually like during the breaks, everything, to try get as many photos. And obviously it does my head in as well at the same time. Like you get over taking photos, but at the same time I'm so grateful for everyone who's coming to the show. I'm like 2 seconds for a photo is going to make their night. Yeah.
Also all shares on social media because they're all putting them on Instagram story. Yeah.
That's the thing. Social media just takes it even further because everyone tags Magic Men. That's the good thing about like male entertainment back in the day might have been a bit like underground. So even if they did have social media back then, they wouldn't have been posting about it because they probably wouldn't tell people they're going. Whereas now it's seen as like almost a cool thing for a girl's night. It's like a normal, regular thing, and that's what
turning over millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, and people will just keep coming back. It's because of that. It's because they are literally treated like queens while they're there. They'll come back again, and they're like they want to see you. It's like they made a friendship with you almost.
And what's the back end sales funnel to an adult entertainment show? So like, are you selling them like cowboy hats, like some like Raw Muscle shows do, and all of that? Because I know
we do merchandise at the show, which the merchandise started during lockdown as well. That sort of got us through lockdown because obviously the whole industry went dead, and that was when we first opened up our store because I got the followers there, and then I was like,
so all your store revenue is all off organic.
Yeah, it's all organic. There's no paid ads. Yeah,
so it's just literally like other than the product and obviously wherever you're getting the product from, that cost. It's all pure profit.
It's all profit, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. It's all free advertising.
I was talking to Troy Candy about this, and he told me that he'd done $2.5 million in sales of his snorkel. You know,
yeah, the snorkel,
right? $2.5 million. Zero paid ads.
Yeah, because because they promo it for him as well. It's the same as Magic Men. They same as when I sent the calendars. To start with, I promoted it, but then once the girls started tagging me, I sent a few out, it just sells itself then, because it's like they see other girls with it, and they post it, and then they're doing the free promo for you, so you don't need to pay for ads.
So what would your advice be then to these guys who listen to this podcast in how they can create some kind of virality product that they can sell organically?
Thing is, what I think loads of people struggle with is like they'll bring the product, they'll come up with a sick idea of the product, but then they won't have the followers first. They'll come up with the product first, then they'll try to sell it. But then it's hard, because then you're just trying to grow just on the product. Whereas mine, how I did it was I got the followers there first.
Yeah.
So they're already interested in you. Then it's a lot easier to sell it to people who have already sold on you, kind of thing. They like you.
Yeah, people buy you.
Yeah, anything that you bring out, they sort of they'll want to help you or get around you.
And if you put out enough value into the world, you will be able to get 1 or 2, 3% back, and that 3% could be a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you've experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, my mate Paul his alter ego is called Sven Gudmundsson on Instagram, right? He pretends he's a Swedish house trans DJ. He's actually an IB for tour manager, right? He's a wicked guy, funny guy. Go follow him on Instagram. He's fucking hilarious, right? Anyway, he fucking built this whole alter ego of being a Swedish house trans DJ, put on the accent, everything.
Yeah.
Built like 40,000
It's the character they buy into,
because they've bought into this character because he's a funny guy. And he'll sell like 400 to 1,000 calendars a year at like whatever price with the margin, 100%. just for a little cheap Shopify store, and he'll bank some cash.
Yeah, 100%. That's what's good about Magic Men as well, is we can actually sell our merch at the shows as well, which a lot of people, they might just do it online, whereas we actually get to see them in person as well. So that's where a lot of it's like 50-50, a lot online, and then like the rest is we're actually seeing them in person, which they want to buy even more when they see you in person, kind of thing.
And I didn't realise how much they become raving fans.
Yeah, I know.
Of you, because you are like their perfect dreamboat man to them. They've seen you on TikTok. They've seen you on Instagram. Maybe it's true, bro.
Yeah.
It's like they've built this. It's like they know you. They like you. They trust you. They're in your world. And when they're in your world, they just obviously you're serving them with the performance and the staging, but it's just a brilliant business model.
Yeah.
That touring business model is a phenomenal, great cash flow business.
Yeah, 100%.
Great cash flow business. So what do you hope to take it to? Because obviously, like when you see the ones that are bigger than you in the world at the moment, obviously you're the biggest in Australia.
Yeah.
You guys are smashing in Australia. Yeah. But I presume, if I'm right in thinking this, you'd probably be looking to take this to kind of like Las Vegas and
100%,
and London, and trying to make it more of a.
I'd love to bring it home to London. That's on the cards for sure. But that was obviously always our goal. We want to go international, especially once we did because Australia, and we'll still keep doing Australia, if not twice the amount of tours that we're doing, which is hard to even think of, but we'll keep doing Australia as we're doing, but we want to go international because we've got a big enough and a strong enough crew now to do that, which is going to be our first test of our first international. Well, we're going to New Zealand, but our first proper international where we're going to be away for a month, so we'll be running the Australian tour still, and we'll be doing Canada at the same time. So Canada's our first big test of being away for a month and still having a crew running the Melbourne show at the same time. It's going to be a test, but it's I reckon we're going to be ready for it. It's not till May next year, but it's going to be crazy, and it's going to be hard for us as well because we've never done that many shows in 1 month. Because normally it's still predominantly just the weekends, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But Canada's going to be Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursdays. It's going to be 20-something shows in 30 days. So. And
what a lot of people won't know about you is the fact of people think, Frankie, you've bought a stripper on here. Why you bought a stripper on here? I'll tell you why I bought a stripper on here.
Because you want to join Magic Men.
Nah, mate, I am fully ready to do that. You know what I'm saying? I reckon I'd send it, bro. Have you seen it? Mate, I could send it. You don't.
Mate, I've got faith in you.
Bro, I've got some fucking moves in my locker. Don't you worry. But the reason why is, one, because I've seen how your life your life is similar to mine in the way that it's changed dramatically. 2, what have you done? You've gone from working a job to buying into intellectual property of a show. 3, you've smashed e-commerce out the ballpark. Fully driven off social media. You've built a great social media following, and not only that, you're using the cash flow to invest in real estate.
Yeah.
So we were talking before the podcast. Yeah. Like, you've got massive plans for buying more apartments and renting them out. Like, give me a bit of an insight into your thoughts on all that.
Mate, it's like my next, because obviously you can't do male entertainment forever. So real estate's just been my little project that I've just been trying to learn. Obviously it's a long game to learn about, but it's my new project I want to learn about, and it's like gives me a fire in the belly to do that as well. It's like it interests me to invest into that. So yeah, I've got my first property, my second one's on the way, and I'm just keen to get into the real estate game and invest in that. So then it gives me a goal for the future as well. Obviously I want to still do Magic Men for as long as I can, but once my body finally gives up, then I've got something. Do you know what? I've got something there.
You were my first and only friend so far to ever bring out their own vibrator. I just want to tell you that. Like, because
hey, the vibrator was a game changer. That was like the first product that I brought out, and we were scared because it was like we invested a lot into it at the time when lockdown came in, and we didn't have a lot of shows. Well, we had no shows on.
Was that a vibrator that you created from scratch and designed, or was it originally white labeled?
It like started as a joke because I put it on my story during lockdown. I was like, what am I going to do now? The shows are over. I was like, shall I bring out a sex toy or something? Shall I bring out a vibrator? Just a little poll on Instagram. Got like 99% yes. And then I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, maybe we could do this, and then got some ideas going, and then we was like...
Yeah, I suppose you asked the girls what they wanted.
Yeah, and then we started turning it into that. We were like, give it names, and especially with a name like Will, they were coming up with all sorts of names for this for this thing. Like, it was what were they calling it?
Because it was the sex toy that really took off as your first econ product, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the first thing that was the only thing. That was the first product, that we put on the store, and we brought out this like big, because we like invested some money into it. But there was no shows on. We were like, this has to work, because we're like, it's not the best time to be dishing out money when you're already in like a lockdown with no other shows. But then we did a big promo video for it. I did like a video with a girl pretending that I'd brought her the sex toy, and then it was her imagination of the thing, or like she was imagining me, but then it was really she was using the toy. So I did this promo video, and it went off, and the video went really well, and it went crazy.
How did you manage to get around the rules of social media in terms of
that's what actually because I lost my account because of the sex toy. So it was like a double-edged sword. It was like, especially that promo video we did, we had to cut out so much because they wouldn't even let us post it at first. Because I posted it, it went up for 5 or 6 hours. Sales were going crazy, and I was like, this is sick. Boom, Instagram's taking it down. And I was like, no way. Then we had to chop and edit it a bit and change it, obviously take out loads of scenes, and then we got it back up again. And then again though, even though we had the massive promo video, which helped, it was just consistency, because then I was talking about it. I was like having banter with the girls about like the toy and all that, and then it was like they kept the sales coming in, and that was like then I was just like, my project in lockdown was just to see how many of them we could sell. And we actually sold out the first batch that we invested into.
So have you now done like 7 figures in sex toy sales?
I reckon it'd be up there, 100%. Especially with like now we've taken it. This is our 5th or 6th order of like batch, like a big batch that we've ordered in.
And how many units are you up to ordering now at a time?
We're doing 2,000 at a time. But we're still, because we did 2 products, which one was my mold and the other one was just a normal vibrator.
So you actually got your
the mold sold out though, and then we didn't do it anymore. It was weirding me out a little bit. But
you went. So hold on a minute. I didn't know this. You went and got your dick molded, and then you sold that to the girls as well as a dildo.
We did the mold and we had 2. Yeah, one was Seduction and Temptation, they were called. Good names, yeah?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was one that was like a vibrator dildo, and the other one was a mold of me. And then the mold sold out, but then the vibrator was going really well as well. So now we're just kept with the vibrator one. The mold weirded me out a little bit, but
hey,
but it was going off. It was good.
If there's good margins on the mold, get the mold back out on the road.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%.
Bring it back,
mate.
All right, we'll bring it back.
Well, mate, why not, mate? If it cash flows.
We were going to bring out a new one. Apparently, there's a new one. This is why women hate men as well. There's a new one which is like a clit sucker, which is meant to be like
I've seen them.
Knees. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
All the girls talk about.
Yeah.
Apparently, they don't need us anymore. So.
Mate, they do because if
they need someone to nag at, don't they? Look, but yeah. So I'm thinking about bringing out that, but yeah, like because of how busy the tour's been, the shop has taken like a back foot now, and we've still got products, and we take them like the calendars and take that stuff on tour. But as for coming up with new ideas, we haven't really done anything yet. We've just been reordering the stuff that we are selling out of. So
this is why I love this podcast, because it's such versatile. You never know what business you're going to discover and how there's so many different ways.
Sex sells though. That's what I can tell you. That is like that. We was not expecting. We thought maybe we would make money. Obviously, we wouldn't have done it if we didn't think we weren't going to. But we didn't expect the amount or the amount of people that bought it from. Like, we just wasn't expecting it.
Is there some mental health issues in this though for you? Do you ever feel like it's hard for you to have a girl that you love because of all the stuff that you do?
Yeah, we've gone 360. That was like a full 180 there. You got that from dildos to now we're getting deep. Nah, that is the hardest thing about the job.
But the reason I ask you, because I see the other side to you. That I want to show them every side of you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like we can have a laugh.
But it's just how quick we went from.
Yeah, but you got
you threw me off.
Mate, I know when to turn it around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the truth though, isn't it? Like let's be honest, right? Because when I
but even social media I feel like social media even can do that to people with like, obviously with male entertainment as well, that doesn't give you trust issues and stuff like that, which we can talk on. But even social media, having a big social media, how I see it is it's like having a lot of money. Like people, a lot of girls will be, they'll be with guys, or they'll with a lot of money, same as they'll be with a guy who's got a big following, or he's verified, or he's got like millions of followers. They want to be with you, or they want to tag you or be seen with you, but how deep can you trust them? How deep does the connection really go?
See, this is what I mean, because I've always felt like you'd like to meet someone, like, do you know what I'm saying? But maybe that's not, you feel like that you have to be a bit guarded now because of all this stuff. Does that not?
Loads of people, I do get that as well. Loads of comments. People do comment on my things saying, "Are you not lonely?" Like, especially when I post on tours and that, and it's normally just me, or like this trip I've come by myself and stuff, where you're always just in and out of hotels. A lot of people do comment that, they're like, "Are you not lonely?" And I can see why people like think like that, because it can be a lonely game sometimes because you're getting your hustle on. So it is like that sometimes, but I don't know. It's one of those things. I like, obviously everyone wants companionship or to be with someone. I'd love to be with someone, but at the minute, how I am, I'm hustling. I'm happy being single as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually genuinely happy.
There's a lot of power in following your purpose, whatever that purpose is at the time.
100%. And I don't worry about, it's different for guys and girls. Like, we haven't really got a clock or anything too much on us, so I'm not worried about settling down. I know I've got some time for that when it comes to it, but
I can see like there might be a little bit of you that's on the shelf about it.
100%, and that's what the hardest thing as well with, like, when you meet girls is you, like you said, you are a bit guarded, but not only that, but sometimes I'll meet the best girl and you get on so good, and you're like, I could wife this girl up. Like, we've got on so good, the connection's there, the spark's there, but then I'll pull myself back because I'm like, nah, this is going to distract me from my path. And it's like, even if you don't want it to, having a relationship in in the work that I'm doing and the way I am on social media. And even it's just unfair for me to almost be in a relationship with someone because of my tour life. Like, imagine, because I'm always like, if the role was on the other foot and it was your missus and she's only there 3 days and the other 3 days she's posting with a load of blokes, or she's on tour and she's like, do you know what I mean? It's a hard thing to do. Yeah. It is hard. And I'd rather be in a relationship once I'm settled in Melbourne. I could still be around the shows, but I'm just not the tour life how it is now.
How long do you reckon you got left of tour life for you being head of the show?
That's another thing as well. That's always in the back of your mind. You never actually know. You never know when the next young gun's going to come in, or like there's going to be another headliner at some point, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? There has to be, yeah. And yeah, you just got to try to keep yourself fresh and keep on your game as much as possible. But yeah, that's another thing that's always in your mind. That's why I'm loving the real estate thing as well, because the more I'm getting into that and the more I'm focused on that, that's becoming actually like into reality now, because I always spoke about it. Now that's come more into reality. I'm more like, you've got like a safety net as well, because the stripping and that game is like you've got a time limit.
But you've done the smart thing. You've always known the time limit was there,
yeah.
And you've allocated accordingly.
Yeah,
like your watch is a good investment. I've seen that watch earlier. I see it at the airport. It's a beautiful watch.
Decent, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you never thought back in the day that you'd be out in Australia stripping and be able to buy a watch like that.
Oh mate, no way.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would have been a watch. You know, that would cost you about 3 years' salary.
Yeah, mate, 100%.
And that to me is like so empowering to see how much abundance you've created in your life from that chance meeting when you were just out walking around Surfers drunk, or wherever you were drunk.
Yeah,
it's just mental, isn't it? Like,
100%.
It's just mental how the world works and how it provides you with an opportunity.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
If you could like summarize some key points in terms of like, if I was to ask you how you would empower people out there listening to this to go and, you know, take what's right for them in the world, in terms of like, you know, what kind of key points would you say really helped you throughout this journey to kind of, you know, distill that?
Yeah, well, like we said, I'm like strong on manifestation and seeing it and believing it. And if you do honestly feel like there's better for you out there, because I always had that feeling when I was in England. I always believed there was a life that I need to be living out there. And mate, always keep a positive mindset, and consistency is always my number one thing. I always come back to whatever it is, stick to it and just keep plugging away at it, whatever you think it is, and keep that positive mindset. It is going to work out. It's going to work out. It's going to work out, because that's what I've always done. And if it's like a lot of people will take one no or two no's, and life's always going to try to beat you down, always, no matter what it is. And especially even some of the closest people to you are going to tell you like that's not going to happen. But you just got, if you honestly believe, you just got to keep fire, like tunnel vision, head down. Go for it.
You got to fire it and wire it in your brain that you are going to do what you say you're going to do.
Mate, 100%.
And trusting in yourself is something I've learned. I never take anyone else's opinion of what I'm doing too seriously.
Yeah, that's what I love about Magic Man as well. Like, I've got such a thick skin now with and social media, like, because you see all the comments and all that stuff. You got to have such a thick skin in that game, and it's actually helped me so much just in everything, in everything in life, having a thick skin.
What is the biggest place you struggle at the moment?
Where I struggle?
Yeah.
Mate, I don't really, mate, I've got a good life. I don't really struggle too much. Even with like the mental health thing, I've never really had no problems with anything like that, to be honest. I'm really good at pulling myself into a good, or always just keep myself into a good, strong headspace.
Do you think that's just down to the routine you take with all, obviously you're big on your fitness and everything, keeping in shape? And
100%. It plays a big part in it. Like, even with the gym, especially recently with like tours and everything we've been doing, my gym motivation has been zero. But because of like I've ingrained into a habit, now I'll go to the gym. It's just in my routine. I'll just go there. even though I've got no motivation at all to go there some days, I'll still go there because I've turned it that long of going there into a habit. Like it's ingrained in me it goes past that point. You know where they say like, oh, you create it into a habit. It does actually happen if you just have to stay consistent long enough. You
just have to ingrain into yourself of why you're doing it as well. I think if your why is big enough, like obviously your why at the minute is simply, you know, you want to go out, you want to buy lots of commercial real estate, you want to grow your shows, you want to expand into America. You've got a pretty big why and a pretty big purpose behind what you're doing. I think if everyone who listens to this looks for whatever their purpose is, I mean, I know we've had a bit of banter on here about sex toys and this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, like, to build a social media following and generate 7 figures out of sex toys on the back end of it, it's like, well, how can you, that's business 101. It's like, so what you've essentially said throughout this podcast is generate attention, give value to the marketplace, sell a product on the back end. And it's like, that's the beautiful thing, and sell out live shows as well. But if you had to check out the planet tomorrow, mate, and you couldn't leave none of this behind, but you could just leave the one golden pearl of wisdom for this audience to help take them to that next level, what would it be?
One golden pearl of wisdom. Keep smiling, stay positive, and don't ever give up on your dreams.
I love that, mate. I love that. Thank you so much for coming in today,
Thank you so much for having me.
Mate, honestly, I've wanted to do this podcast for a long time, as you know. I've been chasing you down.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I'm glad you did, because I am like that. I'm useless.
Yeah, mate. I just wanted to give people a bit of an insight into you and a bit more behind the curtain. I mean, we've had a bit of banter on here.
Mate. Like I said to you, I don't really do many podcasts at all. Like, most of my TikToks, I don't even talk in, to be honest. Like, I leave that stuff on Instagram. But
I just wanted to give people that insight into, you know, how you've generated capital and how you're living your life like you are now through doing something where not every podcast would talk about this. Yeah. So it's like
mostly it's just the stripper questions.
Yeah, but I get there's going to be people saying, why didn't you ask him about what's the worst thing a girl did at the show? Because that's not really what I'm trying to get from this.
You can do that on another day.
Do you know what I mean? That's not really, I didn't really want it to be that conversation. I wanted to give a real insight into your thought process and how you've created attention and then took that attention and turned it into something meaningful for you that's allowed you to change your life. Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing, mate. So credit to you, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And guys, do me a solid favour, yeah? Getting Will Parfitt on the show was an absolute mission. Probably another one that's took me about 2 years or more since we met, man. And credit to him for everything he does and the way he smashed it. Share it on social media, girls. Come on, share your two favourite English Magic Men.
If he gets enough shares, this guy will be on stage at Magic Men getting his shirt off. We're getting back in that apron.
Mate, honestly, I'll tell you what, right? I'd rather go on stage than get in the apron again. The apron's where you get shit money in the reach round.
Get you a Magic Men apron, don't
I'm not about that reach round. It's uncomfortable as fuck. But anyway, guys, like, share, subscribe. I hope this has been a little bit different of content for you, and I hope you've loved every single minute of it. And as you know, we've got banger after banger after banger dropping on this podcast, and you know I love it, and you know I love you, and you know I appreciate you. So let's go. Much love. Peace.